Let's talk about this Bradley Beal situation. So before Bradley Beal was traded, and that was hilarious. Before Bradley Beal was traded to the Phoenix Suns, he was a drawn interest from the Milwaukee Bucks. Appearing on the Run Your Race podcast, Bradley Beal revealed that the Bucks were shopping Chris Middleton in their attempts to acquire the three-time All-Star from the Washington Wizards. The Bucks reached a pivot point in the summer of 2023, coming off a 58-win regular season, lost in the first round of playoffs as a number one seed to the Miami Heat. Beal was on the trade block by the Wizards at that point after 5 consecutive losing seasons, with Milwaukee cited as a potential suitor. And again, Eric Nehm of The Athletic, Bucks beat reporter, noted that at the time Bucks trading for Bill would have been difficult to pull off because of his contract and the way Milwaukee's roster was constructed. I think if it was correct, Middleton would have needed to opt in to last year of his deal to get that done. It would have been tough to do. But Bradley Beal, basically his point on the podcast was that the Bucks were dangling Chris Middleton out there as trade bait and would have tried to do that. Now, we calling cap, we calling no cap. I'll say this. I think that I don't know what I guess I don't know what Bradley Beal would have to gain from lying about the situation. I think we know when we talk about John Horst, you know that he's the guy who said, "Hey, Jason Kidd is the guy," and he fired him then like the next day. So I heard him get on radio with my guy Sparky and say Jason Kidd was the guy, and he fired him like I said a couple of days later. You seen him? You saw where Drew Holiday and his wife felt, are really upset about the way the trade went down with their with him taking a nap or whatever it was and getting informed that he was going to be traded. So we know that John Horst is definitely out there, trying to get deals. Who knows? Did he make the call? Somebody make a call to him. How close were they really to getting it done? I don't know. A lot of times agents get involved. I don't think Bradley Beal was lying. I think now again like we always know, JT, we're attorneys. There's a version, there's usually another version, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. So if you take what Bradley Beal said and then you go to the other extreme of no, he was never trade bait, somewhere probably in the middle of what was going on. Again, could it have been that they took a call? Could it have been that they explored it, but they didn't really get close? Could have been they were on the edge of a deal? I don't know. But when there's smoke, there's fire. I just don't get what Bradley Beal has. I don't think he lied. I think his agent probably told him something about, hey, there's Milwaukee deal on the table. It would take moving Middleton. It might be. I don't know. I just don't think he came out and made that up out of thin air that there was that the Bucks would have been willing to trade Chris Middleton. I think that's true. I think that's somewhat true. How true? I don't know that we'll ever know. But again, I thought it was interesting. What I guess what I take away from it is I think a lot of Bucks fans feel like Chris Middleton is going to be here and he's a staple, and I don't care how long he's injured. I just don't know how true that is. And if the Bucks can find a deal where they think it's better, now again, I'll say this: I'm glad it didn't go down because I don't think Bradley Beal is as good as Chris Middleton pound for pound, especially if both are healthy. I definitely don't think that, given what Bradley Beal's done. But I think there probably some questions at the time he was traded. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm at with it. Glad it didn't happen, but I do think I would not be surprised if, like I said, if I was a fly on the wall, that there some conversations took place. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So I think with Bradley Beal, I mean, you had to kick the tires on that. I think you certainly did because you saw a need. And I also think that, Horst, your job as a GM, you have to always look at ways of getting better. So the fact that they were even talking with Bradley Beal, I'm comfortable with that. I like that, right? Because you got to sniff around and see. Maybe you don't make that move, but the fact that John Horst said, you know what, listen, I want to see if this is really worth us a chance of getting better. I like it. Big swings is what we need at this point, right? Get up there, and Justin, you're a golf guy. Get up there and hit that thing 300 yards. I don't want to see you play 130-yard golf, right? Where the further shot you're gonna hit gonna go a $130, and maybe a second shot goes a $132. But you play I don't want to see that, right? So I'm comfortable with Horst's approach here. Having said that, I think as Bucks fans, we got to be honest about trading a player when they have value. And I think that when Horst did this, Chris' value was probably a bit higher than it is now. We all know he's still one of the best mid-range. He has one of the best mid-range jumpers in the game. Plays well with Giannis, can make plays. We saw him step up in the Pacers and try to put the team on his back, hobbled legs and all. So we've seen that, and we know what Chris can do. Having said that, we also know that it may be a situation with Chris now where it is a Dwayne Wade type situation where we're not sniffing 60 games. We're probably lucky to sniff 50 games. We played 55 last year. It's probably not going to get any better. You just had this surgery. So at what point is that breakup coming? Because it probably is going to come based on salary, based on it, especially if there's some value there. Maybe you move them and you get better at some point.
Let me put my cap on to address Bradley Beal, because I feel like he's capping. So, dog, you ain't come to Milwaukee, and he may not have been capping about the whole thing with the with the Bucks having interest. I'm not saying he capping about that. He capping about the fact where he said he decided not to come because he didn't want to do Middleton like that. Yeah. No, dog, you ain't come because of Kamaya, whatever the chick name is, your wife. She was like, no, I ain't going to the mill in January in negative 20-degree weather. That's what it is. Like, and the thing about Bradley, dog, you all right, but you not Chris. Chris is a proof. We don't win this championship if it's not for Chris.
It's very true. It's very true.
So I'm a homer. Sorry, but it's two dudes I will never part with, because we already parted with one. Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis. Like, we don't get rid of that dude for a Bradley Beal, but you know, it's all good, man. I think what Bradley is, he's practicing some of that toxicity of the Phoenix Suns nature. Shout out to Chris Paul for pushing Giannis when he dunked on him to win the championship. It just kind of trickled down in the effect, and they got a little toxic thing going on. So Bradley Beal looked at the Milwaukee Bucks, looked at us. Hey, we're better. We're better than you now. You got the easy money sniper. Yeah, he a little bit older and long in the tooth now. We're a better basketball team than them, and controversy sells, and that's what he's going to do. And I think that he had that conversation with Bill. With Middleton. I hope he did. I hope he had a conversation with Drew. But if he didn't, hey, man, best thing I learned in my life, man, it ain't personal. It's just business. And like John said, man, if you ain't swinging, what we out here for?
Oh. Did John say that?
I mean,
that's how I perceived it. Oh, hey, shout out to your moms. That might have been my CIAA brain.
Right. Hey, listen. One thing that I will say though, and keep in mind, outside of Ben Simmons, does Bradley Beal have the worst contract in the NBA right now? If not, it's maybe one up.
What James Harden doing? I know what James Harden got. But
I don't think James got 50. I'll tell you this. I would be willing to bet the farm James Harden didn't get 50. But Bradley Beal, that's just a different conversation altogether. And look, it didn't make sense. I'm just glad that Horst made some contact and did that. But you know,